Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club. My name is James Sims, a member of PAC and the board. Anyway, I'd like to, just one brief announcement. If you have your cell phones, if you could just put them on manner mode, out of respect for our speaker, turn them off. I think today's guest probably doesn't need much of an introduction. He's Mr. Fumihiko Ike. He's the chairman of the Japan Automobile Manufacturers Association and chairman and representative director of Honda Motor Company. And he's here speaking today in his capacity as the JAMA chairman, and he has graciously taken time today ahead of the motor show to come to talk about some of the issues and some of the technologies that will be at the focus of the motor show. And as any of you know, even if you don't follow the automotive industry, there are a lot of issues facing the automotive sector, not only in Japan but abroad, in terms of environmental issues, in terms of emissions, and with the climate talks coming up in Paris at the end of the year, other environmental issues are also in focus. And there are a lot of sort of forward-looking things, including fuel cell vehicles, EVs, and plug-in hybrids, et cetera. But there are also some other issues that have been in the news recently, including the diesel problems with Volkswagen in Germany, and of course with airbags as well. But today, Mr. Ike is actually going to talk about the Japanese industry and sort of the events and other issues that will be at the focus of the Tokyo Motor Show. And he will speak for about 20 minutes, and then we'll have a time for a Q&A. And anyway, without any further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Fumihiko Ike, the chairman of the Japan Automobile Manufacturers Association.
Thank you, Jim, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fumihiko Ike, and it is my pleasure to be addressing you today as a chairman of Japan Automobile Manufacturers Association, or we call it JAMA. And I also want to thank Mr. Sims for this timely opportunity to speak to you, your highly esteemed members. I have two topics that I wish to discuss today. One is my main subject, which is on the leadership of the Japanese automobile industry. I'd like to share with you my thoughts on how this industrial sector in Japan will play an active role in the areas of safety and environment for the betterment of our society as a whole. The other is the 44th Tokyo Motor Show 2015. This world-renowned auto show, which is held biennially, has served as a showcase for top technologies for several years now. From the 42nd show in 2011, we began showing the latest technologies from not just the automotive sector, but also from a wide range of industries, including telecommunications, energy, housing, and materials, just to name a few, that together help to create an ideal environment in which automobiles can better serve the society and its people while being responsible to our planet. Later, I hope to draw your attention on the highlight exhibition from this year's motor show. As JAMA members, JAMA represent manufacturers of cars, commercial vehicles, and motorcycles. I just want to quickly mention how our member companies collectively fare in a global automotive scene. You may be surprised to learn that out of the 19 million new cars and trucks sold each year around the world, the Japanese brands accounts for 30% or 27 million new vehicles. With two-wheelers, the ratio is even higher, with 26 million motorcycles and scooters out of the total 60 million units sold annually, having Japanese nameplates, a market share of 44%. For JAMA members to continue to raise our presence globally, we believe it is imperative to further innovate manufacturing by solidifying and evolving the foundation for product design and manufacturing, or we call it in Japanese, monozukuri. Let me elaborate. It has always been the research and development facilities of all the companies located in Japan that were responsible for developing state-of-the-art technology and products. And on the manufacturing side, the production facilities in Japan have served as mother plants to offspring factories located outside the country. Together, both the R&D and manufacturing functions continue to serve as innovation centers, churning out various value-added technologies and products. But recently, our industry is becoming increasingly complex as we aspire to make automobiles that are far more beneficial to the society than before, and this is prompting the auto industry to embrace the expertise of other industries. This, by the way, is what we will again try to convey this year at the Motor Show here. It also means we have to enlist the help of government and academics, but more on that later. Another important role for the auto industry is regarding the Japan Revitalization Strategy, also known as New Growth Strategy, which Japan's cabinet decided in 2013 to implement as part of the Abenomics. We are expected to do our part in building a safe, convenient, and commercial, economical next-generation infrastructure. Furthermore, under the auspices of Japanese government, a total of 9 projects have been set up targeting 2020, when the Olympic and the Paralympic Games will come to Tokyo. Although these projects have just started, there will be at least 2 projects that require involvement of the auto industry. One such project deals directly with mobility, and other is on smart community, where automobiles will serve not only as a means of mobility, but also as an electrical power source and part of the integrated communication system. Already, the cars on the road are communicating probe information to greatly improve traffic management and help drivers to avoid dangerous weather or avert traffic jams. Also, by being able to communicate means these cars can receive real-time information on where to go and what to see, enhancing the driving experience. The propagation of the Internet of Things, or IoT, and advancement in information and communication technology will enable this communication feature to further expand it. Also, the introduction of wireless car-to-car or car-to-motorcycle communication system will allow vehicles to talk to one another, ushering in an era of connected vehicles, which enhances traffic safety by preventing accidents from happening in the first place. With the ongoing development of autonomous or automated self-driving technology, the automobile will undergo a sweeping transformation by dramatically increasing its value as a means of personal transportation. I will come back to this subject later. In terms of transition in the energy source, from fossil fuels to electricity and hydrogen, the changes are having profound effect not only automobiles but the social and public infrastructure as well. For us, in the Japanese automobile industry, these changes are already affecting how we manufacture vehicles and impacting our value chain. Looking outside of Japan, European automotive industry is setting in place measures to innovate manufacturing process as part of the Industry 4.0 initiative, which encompasses contemporary automation, data exchange, and manufacturing technologies to revolutionize concepts of value chain organization. And in the United States, the Industrial Internet Consortium founded last year is similarly working to integrate complex physical machinery with networked sensors and software. In this area, Japan needs to make a strong effort to not be left behind. In addition to our production site or Gemba strengths, we will need to integrate the efforts of not just those within the industry, but also that of government and academics, so that we can work together to advance the overall value chain capabilities, not only manufacturing operations. As I mentioned earlier, the auto industry has always been an industry that counted on the input from many supporting industries. And it is expected to become even more complex and diverse as energy issues, establishment of the infrastructure, community planning, and transportation systems will all need to be accounted for. With the 2020 Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games, we should use them as a milestone. Japan would have a perfect reason to accelerate the advancement of these efforts I have just mentioned, to try to make Tokyo the technical showcase for automated driving, next generation vehicles, and smart mobility city. Next, I want to turn to some of the advantages that Japanese auto industry possesses. Although global competition in these areas is fierce, Japanese auto industry is in the forefront with the technologies regarding environment and safety. First, let me explain environmental technology. It is said that human activities produce about twice the amount of CO2 than the Earth can absorb. According to the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change findings, we have to contain the rise in the Earth's surface temperature to below 2 degrees centigrade relative to the Industrial Revolution era from 1850 to 1900. In order to keep the rise of below 2 degrees, the whole world needs to cut CO2 output by 70% compared to 2010 levels. Just to put things in perspective, of all the CO2s produced by human activities, automobiles burning fossil fuels account for roughly 20%. This means the auto industry needs to take drastic actions. Currently in Japan, the domestic sales of passenger cars classified as next generation cars, namely hybrid vehicles, plug-in hybrids, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, electric vehicles, and clean diesel vehicles, constitutes only 25% of total new vehicles sold. We therefore are intensifying our efforts to further promote to public the next generation cars. Obviously, for fuel cell electric vehicles and other types of electric vehicles to become widespread, development of infrastructure is vital. Without infrastructure investment to establish electric vehicle charging stations and hydrogen filling stations, many of these next generation cars will not be popular with the buying public. At the present, there are over 11,000 EV charging stations in Japan. In contrast, the number of hydrogen filling stations stands at just 28 locations. However, the Japanese government has its sights set to increase the number of hydrogen stations threefold by the end of this fiscal year, with a target to reach 100 locations by next fiscal year. The arrival of a full-scale hydrogen-based society is essential in containing CO2 output, especially from automobiles. It also is a sensible answer to securing alternative energy after 3/11 devastation having changed the energy mix scenario in Japan. With the Fukushima nuclear disaster having reduced our reliance on nuclear energy, the government is seriously and proactively pursuing ways to bring about hydrogen-based society. JAMA members companies are doing their part by committing to develop fuel cell vehicles. Toyota already has its FC vehicles, the Mirai, on the market, whereas Honda will be launching the all-new FCV by March next year, and Nissan is expected to follow soon. Next, on safety. Japan saw its traffic accident-related death toll decline for the 14th straight year, with a total of 4,113 fatalities in 2014, a steady improvement over the 9,073 figure from the year 2000. The decrease is mainly attributable to improvement in vehicle safety performance coupled with tighter enforcement of traffic regulations. Also, wider availability of advanced safety technology in vehicles sold in the recent years, such as collision mitigation system with emergency braking function, has contributed to this decline. In fact, about 30% of all passenger cars for sale in Japan are available with these advanced brakes. However, even with this new equipment and stricter law enforcement, the pace of death toll reduction is starting to slow down in recent years. Moreover, we are far short of meeting the 2018 target of less than 2,500 fatalities set by the National Police Agency of Japan. Partly attributable to this slowdown is the aging society. The elderly are becoming both the victim and assailant, and the traffic accident involving the senior citizens are on the rise. Additionally, the number of traffic accidents involving cyclists are also increasing, comprising a significant portion of victims belongings to vulnerable road user group. In order to address these problems, we are working on autonomous or self-driving technology, which we at JAMA have decided to call automated driving. We believe the automated driving technology can greatly contribute to reducing on-road accidents and ease traffic congestions. This new technology is capable of offering a totally new value in automobiles, and it seems that it isn't just government or the industry which sees the future in automated cars. The level of interest generated in both the press and the public is evident from the amount of coverage in the media these days. In addition to safety contribution, the technology will bring benefit the aging society, such as Japan in particular, by presenting it with the freedom of personal mobility. By integrating automated driving technology with small-scale transport, it can overcome the challenges of having to establish a full-scale transportation system in a thinly populated rural area. The Japanese government in June of this year announced Japan's national strategy on comprehensive science, technology, and innovation, or CSTI. One of CSTI's major initiatives is the Cross-Ministerial Strategic Innovation Promotion Program, better known as SIP. With this initiative, the government takes on the leadership to realize innovation through enhancing government academic industry cooperation, in particular for the automated driving system. SIP has outlined the targets for introducing automated driving cars to the Japanese market using the criteria set forth by the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The partially automated driving, or level 3 cars, to be introduced to the market by the first half of the 2020s, and fully automated driving, or level 4 cars, by the latter half of the 2020s. As I have explained, advanced state-of-the-art technologies are the key to Japanese automakers' leadership. We therefore intend to continue to enhance our capabilities in this area. Finally, I want very briefly mention about Tokyo Motor Show 2015. The main exhibition that JAMA, as the organizer, has prepared is Smart Mobility 2015. The exhibit will be used to communicate what we believe to be the ideal near future city of tomorrow. In addition, we will combine international symposiums that are themed on automated driving. By the way, I will be speaking on this topic in this symposium titled, How Will Automated Driving Change Our Lives and Our Society, which will be held on November 6th in a conference tower on the Tokyo Big Site. You are cordially invited to come and listen to me. The motor show will also offer the opportunity for visitors to actually experience automated driving, personal mobility, and micromobility. Of course, individual car companies will be showing their world premiere cars and motorcycles, so please make sure to visit all of them and witness what each company has to offer. The details of the motor show, including press day information, are provided in literature in front of you. Thank you very much once again for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to go to questions first from the working press. If you could please state your name and affiliation, and please keep it to one question and no speeches. So, go ahead. Yeah.
Martin Kölling with the German financial daily Handelsblatt. You might guess my question already. We are talking about alternative powertrains, electric vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, and hybrids. And I wonder what the recent Dieselgate of Volkswagen, what impact will it have on the other technologies? How will the dynamics in the market shift by this PR disaster in Germany?
Well, regardless of the recent, I would say, scandal of the diesel devices or some cheating, way to avoid the regulatory requirements, I'm afraid to say it's not our official, comment by the JAMA, but this is just my personal observation. Diesel is still one of the technical way to contribute to mitigate CO2 reductions. So I believe that still, diesel, especially clean diesel, is one of the key method to mitigate the CO2 emissions. The one specific company is doing is, I don't believe that affects all the direction of technology. It's one of the options, I think. I'm not the engineer, but as management of the OEM company, a clean diesel is always one of the key technologies to mitigate the CO2 mitigations. But as I said before in my remarks, the whole world has to reduce the CO2 emission by 70% by, compared to 2010. That is even diesel engine might be difficult, or even the conventional combustion engine is very difficult to clear this target. So most probably the main powertrain would be electric powered car, including hybrid or plug-in or fuel cell vehicles. However, all those vehicles could be popular all over the world, that by the, let's say, year 2050, I personally has a big question mark on it, because it's not easily affordable to everyone because of the very high-tech vehicles. The cost price is not so affordable, and the majority of the incrementation of the population or motorization itself is among the emerging countries, including African countries, or namely emerging countries where population is increasing, and the majority of the CO2 will be emitted, all those are emerging countries. So for the developed countries, maybe the reduction ratio is much higher than 70%. So that means maybe we have to drive zero emission cars by for example, year 2050. The other day, Toyota declared that eventually they will, their cars will be powered by all electric or fuel cell vehicles, no combustion engines. The reality, how to materialize or recognize this kind of society is a big challenge. However, if the whole world has to commit to sustain, sustain to means to raise of the Earth's temperature below 2 degree scenario, we have to make those. At this moment, it's a very challenging and difficult things, but we have to make it happen. It takes time, but if decades of time, but the current evolution of technology is so rapid and sometimes beyond our imagination. So I personally hope this technological evolution could come up to the answer.
Okay. Oh, John.
John Harris, freelance. Tokyo Motor Show has always been one of the world's great motor shows.
Thank you.
And, well, at least until 2008, after the Lehman shock, the Japanese makers were pulled out of Detroit, and the Americans retaliated by pulling out of Tokyo. and that coincided with China becoming the world's largest auto market. So according to the makers, now Tokyo is a tier 2 show, and which is unfortunate. And my question about this is, I have the feeling that JAMA is just kind of accepting this and not really fighting back to make our motor show, put it in the top league. Last Tokyo Motor Show, some of the tier 2 suppliers didn't even have any English on their stands, and which was shocking to some of the visiting foreign press. This time, we've had some of the materials sent out under Smart Mobility almost haven't made sense in English, issued by JAMA. And it was like embarrassing quality. And
Sorry, John.
Okay,
Question.
I'm almost finished.
Okay.
I'm almost finished.
Question.
I'm almost
I got
finished.
point. I got your point already.
The arrangements to this point, I had a Dentsu guy phoning me on Saturday night asking if I'd received my press pass. It's not. So I'm wondering, what are you going to do to make this a global show again? Thank you.
Yeah, I got your point. And we're not accepting that Tokyo Motor Show should be second tier. As I said before in my remarks, it's still renowned World Motor Show. If you look at just the physical size of the show, construction, the physical limitation of the site where we are going to have a motor show at the Tokyo big site is physically limited, so the number of turnout might be smaller. But the manufacturers who are not interested in this motor show is, I'm afraid to say, U.S. car manufacturers. The Europeans are very eager to, make their presence in Tokyo, and the world premiere, and they sometimes select the Tokyo Motor Show as a world premiere. And this year we have a number of world premiere cars. And so we're not accepting we are admitting that we are second-tier motor show. Just comparing the daily turnout, maybe Tokyo Motor Show turnout per daily basis, one of the largest turnover. If you look at compared to the Paris salons, maybe the total number is exceeding, but the length of the motor show is twice as long as Tokyo Motor Show. So daily turnover is much larger. So we're not accepting or admitting that Tokyo Motor Show is a second-tier motor show. And especially we are focusing on, or we're trying to make this motor show as a showcase. Although I'm afraid to hear that our documentation or literature whatsoever JAMA prepared is very poor quality. I'm sorry about that, but the show itself is not poor quality, and it's not just a show as the past, because we are cooperating Japanese government strategic motivation or initiative. That means Japanese government would like to make year 2020 as a milestone to represent revitalization of what Japan as a country used to have. That is the expertise in state-of-the-art technologies. And so maybe this is a very good opportunity for us and a very good motivation for us to, because as a timeline, 2020 is only 4 or 5 years to go from now. So we can put our focus on, but 2020 is just a milestone. It's not the end of the goal. This is just a milestone, and our vision is far longer than that. And we would like to make smart mobility city, because we experience a lot of natural disasters, and Japan as a country short of the resources, and we have to find out our own social solutions, how to sustain our country, because we are heavily reliant on energy imported outside Japan, or in a nuclear power is now limitation because of the Fukushima disaster. So we have to find out a new solution, and one key solution is hydrogens. And hydrogen is a good energy and a secondary energy, and relatively easy to produce. So it's not just a commercial motor shop. It's a kind of a showcase. So I don't know how you could categorize motor show second tier or whatsoever, but
It's a global show.
yes, please.
Just one follow-up question.
Oh,
That-
sorry.
Are you going to make English compulsory for exhibitors?
I'm sorry.
その全てのその、
英語でね。
サプライヤーとか展示する方たちにその英語を義務化するんでしょうか。
Well, the majority of the audience or commerce are Japanese. So fundamentally, it's going to be Japanese.
Okay, sorry. And then Richard.
My name is Patrick Walter with German newspaper Frankfurter Allgemeine. I would like to come back to the Volkswagen and diesel question. You talked about the technological side. I'm wondering about the economic side. Out of this scandal, there might be some kind of mistrust building up with the buyers about diesel cars, and there might as well building up some kind of backlash in regulation, much stronger regulation on the diesel cars. So could that be an impact? Could that have an impact on the Japanese automobile industry?
Well, for the Japanese automobile industry, I don't think so. Mainly a big impact on the mother country industry. Or Europe is the market where the majority of cars, or maybe half of the car on the road is diesels. And I believe the other manufacturers, OEM is confronting with the regulatory requirements. So the only one specific company is destroying the trust of the consumers. So that's a very sad thing. But economically, I mean, for the Japanese OEMs, diesel is not so popular in Japan or our major market of the U.S. Diesel cars is very minor powertrain. So direct answer to the economical impact is negative, I would say, to the Japanese auto manufacturers. But however, the perception, I mean, trust, not if the majority seems that it's not just a matter of the diesel technologies, but the whole regulatory requirements. If the OEMs is to conform with the regulatory requirements, it's if the people think that it's not only the diesel technology but the whole combustion engines or other technologies as well, then that might have some negative perception and impact. Yeah.
Okay, Richard.
My name is Richard Tusilo from Indonesia. I'm very interested on your next speech on this automatic driving system.
Mm-hmm.
So logically, everybody would like to use this kind of system, not only for aging people but also for lazy people. Yeah. So we could sleep inside the car so without having accident. So please tell me in front of us now, when will be happen this kind of system? And I think it's probably 90% worldwide population will use this kind of automatic self-drive system. And do you think it is possible to test before in the very traffic jam city like Jakarta, very, very crowded there? Because this is very important also for us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. And it's definitely not for the sake of the lazy drivers. Main objective of the automated driving system is to avoid traffic accidents. And when to be commercialized, some of the JAMA members already announced that by 2020, they will commercialize the car which can be operated on a highway, not the public road, but on a highway on an automated transportation mode. But still, as I said before, they're categorized by the NHTSA, that the U.S. National Highway Traffic Agent. The level 3, that means still the responsibility owned by the driver. And next question, when it's going to be realized on the regular public road off the highways, I think it's still a long way to go because, one of the Japanese manufacturers are saying even the public road, they will commercialize the automated driving cars very soon. But before we market that kind of cars, there might be a lot of still, issues to be resolved. And first of all, we have to make some consensus regarding social acceptance or how to prepare. Because the cars on the road, every car on the road is not automated. Only a few cars are automated. It's a mixture of the traffic and the drivers surrounding all those automated cars is not getting used to it, how it would move or what kind of action that car will take. I mean, machinery, computerized car take actions. We can imagine if the driver, let's imagine when you drive a car and if the car in front of you, acting strange, maybe you can, imagine this guy, the guy or he or she, I don't know, must be tired or he is or she's losing some concentration, and then I try to make it a route to take a distance, because I will, imagine if some might be happen, but the computerized or AI, artificial intelligence technology, they just computerize everything, but however, the human brain's capability is far better, in terms of imagination, to guess what's going to happen next, but AIs, their methodology or configuration is different. So I personally don't believe that fully automated car on the public where pedestrians, animals, or something on the road or unexpected things happen, then it's not so easy to leave everything on computers or machines' responsibility. And the current technology, if even a highway road, the radar or camera find out some obstacle on the road, it takes 30 seconds to switch the lane or adjust. But if the human being driving a car, if we see some obstacle on the highway, on the road, small package, dropped from the truck in front of you or something like that, then we can avoid that package. But the current technology, even a small package like a UPS package, dropped from the delivery truck, the current automotive driving cars cannot avoid that package, so you crash on the package. So it's not so easy. Very limited conditions like a highway and very well conditioned highway, and maybe year of the Olympics, maybe from the airport to the site of the Olympic Games might be well secured, cleaned up and everything. So maybe it's possible. But I know the Jakarta. I was the head of Asian operations, and I've been to Jakarta so many times. And I know you need the automated drive car because it takes 3 hours from airport to get the hotel. So even you are not lazy, you need an automated car. I understand your situations, but it's of course it's good to imagine or dream about the day when you can leave it to everything on a machine or cars. But I think it still takes decades of time.
Sorry, just a quick follow-up. What about liability? Liability I always thought would be a huge issue in the United States.
Huge issues. Yes, that's why I'm wondering, for example, Google announced that Google car, but especially the country like the U.S., product liability is always a very concerns for us. Even the collision avoidance braking system, we must be very careful because something happened. It's low case litigation all over. So there might be a lot of discussions to reach some kind of social acceptance. The society really accept that kind of system, or transportation without human beings' responsibility. And we OEMs still believe in that responsibility, all up to the driver.
Okay, so the gentleman next to Richard, and then Jim, and then gentleman over here. Are you working press or okay?
I have my name is JAMA from Bloomberg News. My question is also related to automated driving. You said Japanese government wants to showcase the technology in 2020. Last week, Tesla CEO Elon Musk said Japan is the only country where they can't introduce autopilot technologies so far because they haven't got approval from the government. So do you think the Japanese government is still being too conservative? Do you think that Japan may actually lose out in implementation? And what is JAMA doing to convince the government to further deregulate?
Well, even the U.S., if without any drivers, you cannot drive the car. So, under some surveillance, you have to drive a car. And of course, Japanese government recognize the easing of the regulations for us to make an experimental drive. And they already started easing and accepting us. That's why we can show the automated car on the Metropolitan Highway next week. And even the Toyota, they already broadcast on the TV that driver is take his hands off the wheels. So, and also Japanese government tried to set up a special district where we can make some experimental test on the public road. And some regional authority, allow us to make some, experimental things. So I think Japanese government already shows their, recognition and understanding. Without those experimental things, we cannot proceed our, development of technology. And Japanese government is very supportive and cooperative these days.
Okay, Jim.
Jim Treese from Automotive News. I'd like to return to the topic of safety. Japan has a very high rate of fixing cars under recall. But Japan also exports a number of its cars, its older cars, to other countries. And I'd like to ask for JAMA's position on the responsibility of Japanese OEMs to make sure that used vehicles in Africa, Middle East, Oceania, other countries that receive used Japanese cars, to make sure that those cars are all remedied while under recall, regardless of what the local national government responsibility laws state.
Well, it's a very challenging, because a used car, and as long as the car is authorized used car running in domestic market, we can trace, or traceability is secured. But unfortunately, to the export of the used car, especially to the emerging countries like Africa or those destinations, it's out of our control, I'm afraid to say. So if the cars are imported through our authorized, distributorship, even the used cars, we can guide our authorized distributor to, explain to their customers or something like that. But the reality is most of the used car is shipped out of Japan through the secondary or third, used car dealers or agencies. So it's out of control, I'm afraid to say.
Sunil Chakko, I've written op-eds in a number of newspapers. Thank you for a very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
And congratulations for the Japanese auto industry being perhaps the most successful Japanese industry globally. My question is that, irrespective of what happens with automated driving, the cars of tomorrow have increasing amount of computerization in it. They look like computers on wheels.
Right.
You spoke about academia, government, industry collaboration, which is great. But how about the regions? How about young people like Mr. Soichiro Honda with not the highest education, but with big dreams? Do you have plans to incorporate them, even if they are not part of your company, in training for the cars of tomorrow? Thank you.
Well, most of the manufacturers, including JAMA members, have kind of a technical school, specialized technical schools. It's apart from the regular high schools or commercial high schools, technical schools, and we are doing this to educate young engineers, to educate their mechanical expertise. And we are expanding our global operations, not just building factories in each local countries, but at the same time, most of the case collaborating with the local government to set up a technical school to educate the people, to work with the factories first in the first place. And also, JAMA has some special program to tie up with the certain countries to educate engineers who could, involved in the automobile industries, not just assembling factories, but mechanics who can support maintaining the cars on the road. And even in Japan, the lack of those technicians or engineers are very big issues, because the people, especially younger generation, is not really interested in mechanical engineering. Rather, they are interested in electric engineering, like computers or IT technologies. However, we have to revitalize the mechanical engineering technology as well. That's why JAMA members make a program to visit a university or college by ourselves to teach or make a dialogue with the students directly to share how important the mechanical engineering are to sustain Japanese, in a sense, country's expertise to produce or create something. By IT technologies, young people can create anything, but it's all on a virtual world. But even if you click one shot, maybe next day you can receive something. But all those, things are packed, manufactured, packed, and delivered by human beings and trucks and everything. So I've been telling young generations, for them, they are very good at making a new business model utilizing computerized virtual society. However, the real thing is moved or transformed by human beings. So please not to forget about that. Final thing is moved by human power or mechanical power.
Okay. One more. Okay. We have time for one more question. Yuri?
Thanks. I'm Yuri Kageyama with the Associated Press. My question is about automated driving. What do you think is going to determine who's going to be number one in this field? I mean, a lot of automakers are talking to us right now and saying they're number one. Is it like partnering with Google? Is it being there first? Or is it being in a country like Japan in which they may have infrastructure? Because a lot of the technology seems actually quite similar.
Well, it's very difficult to define who is the number one, but the number one means who will decide? That is the customer who actually use the car, that kind of type of car. So the answer we have to see. And the first one, whoever put on the market, is not really the number one because it's the final decision will be decided by a whole society, consists by the human people who are really utilizing those vehicles.
But I mean, are there any sort of national differences or technology support from the government or regulations that could affect, what happens in terms of who's going to become the market leader? I mean, Japan became, I think, a leader in hybrid vehicles.
Yeah, of course, Germans and the U.S. and, of course, Japanese wants to be a number one, but that kind of competitive motivation creates, step forward. And but before that, because it could be materialized or realized when the social acceptance will formulated, because still maybe the technological advancement is at least up to level 3. That means within a very limited conditions you can drive automated car. But imagine if the car running without drivers everywhere, and then if the society would accept that, that kind of discussion should be taking place first place, and then define what is the roadmap or milestone to where or to what kind of level of automated means beneficial to both people who drives the car or the society which accept that kind of vehicle running around. So still, I'm sorry, I'm not answering your questions. It's very difficult to who is the number one, but at least the Japanese government wants to be number one. That's why they are pushing a lot of pressure on us, and so that's why they gave us a certain target of year 2020 to showcase Japan as a number one to present near future automotive a society and a vehicle consisting of that society. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we've run out of time, but I mean, the issue of social acceptance is an issue I hadn't really thought about. I'd always thought about the technology. But anyway, as per our usual custom, we'd like to give you an honorary membership to the club. And hopefully after the motor show, we might see you here at the club. And please, if everybody could sit down, he's got an appointment right after this. And so please sit down while our speaker leaves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again.